For today, I'll be teaching you how to make a chocolate fudge cake. And before we start, I must teach you how to prepare the pan. To prepare the pan, you will need a parchment paper that is big enough to cover the base of the cake. Then you will fold it in half, then another half, then you will fold it into a triangle and another triangle. Get a scissors and line up your parchment triangle in the bottom of the cake pan in the center. Then with the scissors cut it at an angle with a curve actually, so that it will perfectly fit the base of the pan. Let us see. See, you have a perfect circle that fits at the base of your pan. In this pan, I have sprayed it with Crisco spray, and you will spray it generously so that the parchment paper will stick here. The parchment paper, lining the pan with parchment paper is very useful because it will stop the cake from sticking at the bottom of your pan. Of course, when you make a cake, you want the cake to be able to come out. Now, with a strip of parchment paper that is as tall as this, as the side of your pan, so that the sides will also be non-stick. Not really non-stick as well. So do that in two 9-inch pans. You need a 9-inch for this cake. It's a very tall cake. This is like those diner cakes, which is so good. Here. And a little more. There, the pan is very well prepared. Now, we will do that step again in this other pan. Before we start mixing the cake batter, we have to preheat the oven so that when our cake batter is finished, our oven is in the right temperature. For now that the oven is preheating, we can start making our cake batter. I have pre-measured all the ingredients earlier, so we can do it now. When you're mixing the butter and the sugar together, you must remember to scrape the wall from time to time. Stop the mixer, then scrape, so that everything is well distributed within the batter. When the butter is light and fluffy like this one, we can now add the eggs. Eggs should be added one at a time because it will take time for the eggs to be incorporated with the fats, which in this case is the butter. Mixture, you can see this is already the butter with the sugar and the eggs, but look, it's a bit lumpy, right? Look, have pieces of butter in it, so you have to get your spatula and scrape the bowl once more. You don't want a lumpy cake, so everything must be incorporated properly. Yes, I know, scrape. In the bowl, you have to scrape everything, especially at the bottom of the bowl. Sometimes there are batter stuck there. Now, let's return it to the mixer once more. I don't know if you can see it, but the texture of the cake is much smoother than before. Notice each one, and gently add dry ingredients. Then a little bit of wet. We have to scrape it so that the bits and pieces of flour will be mixed in properly. If you can see, there's still flour lumps, so scrape, cut in the center, and turn. Cut and turn. Get the pan that we have prepared and lined with the parchment, remember? Then we'll divide the batter equally within the two pans. In leveling the cake with the cake spatula, you'll just do this. And you'll see the cake will come out as level as possible. You could do this. Shake it up. See, it's level. Then we'll do it in another cake. Remember to set your timer to 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. And check if it has sound on it. Sometimes I forget. While our cake is baking in the oven, let's make the fudge frosting. With 300 grams of chocolate, then add the whipping cream. Since I don't have whipping cream handy right now, I'm using a regular cream, which you can find in our groceries. For this frosting, we add a 1/4 cup of light syrup to make it shiny. 1/4 and 1/4 cup of butter. The instruction for this is using the stove and melt everything together, but I prefer using the microwave for the easier way out. Once everything is melted and smooth like this, see, no more lumps, you have to let it stay at room temperature for 5 minutes. 5 minutes or so, until you can feel that the bowl is no longer hot. So once it has cooled, we have to cover it with cling wrap. Cling wrap should touch the frosting itself so that it won't create a skin. Then we put it in the fridge until it sets around overnight. So by tomorrow we will have a good cake. For us to check if the cake is done, we will get a skewer, or a toothpick in this case, and plunge it on the deepest part of the cake. Then we pull it out. If you can see no more crumbs or just little crumbs like this, the cake is finished. After 10 minutes, we have to remove the cake from the pan itself. This is when we can test if the parchment paper works. Oh! Oopsie. Don't worry, that happens. See? If we didn't have the parchment paper, I'm sure the cake would have stuck on the pan. With the parchment, everything came out smoothly. And the cake is so moist. Our cake layers have finished baking, and I'll be leaving it here on the counter on a wire rack so that it will cool properly. And by tomorrow morning, we will be frosting them.